If someone will ask me, please list out the most important economic reforms which have been implemented by the government of India in recent times. At the topmost will be the LPG reforms. There can be no discussion associated with that. In the last 3 decades, that's been the most important economic reform. But immediately following that, I will choose the second most important one as the goods and services tax, which has come into force from 1st July 2017. But at the same point of time, I will also say that the structure that we chose to implement the GST, the multiple slabs we chose to implement in GST, basically reduce the effectiveness as well as the efficiency of the goods and services tax that we implemented. It had a central theme of one nation, one tax, but it ended up becoming a old wine in a new bottle. But the government of India now has proposed to rationalize the GST structure, which is required. According to the proposal of the union government, rather than having multiple slabs in the form of 5, 12, 18, and 28%, now we are going to reduce the number of slabs. And not just that, most of the goods and services will be taxed under 18%. Around 5 to 7 luxury goods or sin goods will be taxed at 40%, and the merit goods will be taxed at 5%. But this has to be approved by the GST Council, which is supposed to meet on 3rd and 4th September 2025. And that is where I feel there will be certain frictions between the center as well as some of the states regarding this proposal. Let's understand why in this particular video. Hello and welcome to Unacademy IAS, a one-stop destination for all the English medium civil services aspirants. A lot of you are preparing for the civil services examination to be conducted in 2026 and 2027. If you want to ace the examination in the first attempt, ensure that you will have a comprehensive coverage of the static portion. Update with current affairs. You will have to have the right reading material, and you will also have to attempt multiple prelims as well as mains test series. All of this is available to you if you enroll into our courses, which is priced at 19,999 right now. And if you use the code IAS English, you will also get an extension of up to 12 months free of cost. Those who wish to enroll into our courses, do check out the details by clicking on the link provided in the description below. Let me start the discussion. The GST, like I said, has come into force from 1st July 2017. And from the beginning itself, one of the lacunae of the GST has been the multiple tiers or the multiple slabs that we followed. In the beginning, there was a need for it, but now there is a need to rationalize the GST structure. And to promote the rationalization, like I said earlier, the government of India or the union government has proposed 5%, 18%, and 40% slabs. And this particular proposal has been accepted by the group of ministers under the GST Council, which was set up in 2021 to rationalize the GST. Now, on the 3rd and 4th of September, the GST Council is scheduled to meet. Basically, take up this particular proposal, have a discussion, debate, and then approve this kind of a rationalization structure. What is the issue here? Listen to me very carefully. With this kind of a rationalization, there will be certain amount of loss of tax revenue, and that is bound to happen. Although in a longer duration, in long term, we expect with more of a tax base, we'll be able to recover this amount. But immediately the impact will be, if you take a product which is being taxed, let's say at 12%, and if you shift it under 5%, automatically the amount of taxes the government will collect will become lower. And when the GST collected will become lower, the amount of tax that will go to the states where the product has been consumed, the amount that will be accumulated to these particular states will also become lower. There are various estimates. What is the likely impact? You don't worry. The impact will be that there will be certain loss of revenues. And that is where some of the states have raised concern. For example, the representative of Tamil Nadu, representative of Karnataka government, they have raised issue regarding this rationalization proposal of the union government. Their argument is, if you take the state governments, they will impose and collect multiple types of taxes. like the union government. But the GST, which is basically an indirect taxation, the states have given up most of their indirect taxation power under the GST, and they will be able to get half of it. That is, again, wherever the good is consumed or the service is consumed, half of the GST collected will be going to the respective state. Basically, the model of a destination based taxation. So these particular states have given away the power of indirect taxation under GST. Now, if you rationalize and reduce the GST applicable, basically they are having the fear, they are concerned that they will be losing huge amount of tax receipts. And their argument is, please look at our debt to GDP. Have a look at this. Look at the debt to GDP of the state governments. Look at the interest liabilities that they will have to basically take care in the current financial year. And not to forget, what is their reliance? What is the reliance of these particular states on the GST tax receipts? What is the meaning of reliance here? According to one estimates, if you take the top 12 states in India, top 12 based on the gross state domestic product. If you take the top 12 states and if you find out about their finances, and specifically in the finances, what is the source of important revenue for these particular states, you'll be surprised to know that in case of these 12 states, more than 40% of the total tax money that is collected by the states is in the form of GST. Let that number sink in. Understand the importance of this. I'll repeat this again. Take top 12 states, arrange them in terms of gross state domestic product, look at the finances, and within the amount of money that is earned by the states, look at the tax revenue. And within the tax revenue, look at how much they have collected because of GST. They have collected more than 40% of their total tax receipts because of the goods and services tax itself. So these states are worried. They are concerned as to what will be the impact on their receipts. And this will get reflected in the GST Council meet that is going to be held on 3rd and 4th of September 2025. How so? Let me explain that as well. Whenever any proposal is supposed to be taken up and approved in the GST Council, there will be either a consensus. Consensus basically means all the states as well as the UTs with the legislature plus the central government have approved, have voted in favor of this. But if some of these particular states disapprove, they are present and they want to vote against it, that is where the voting pattern will come into picture. What is the voting weightage in the GST Council? 33% or one third of the total weight of the votes has been given to the center. Remaining two thirds equally has been divided amongst the states as well as the UTs with legislatures. Now let's imagine there are 10 states or 12 states or let's say 15 states who are unhappy with this kind of a rationalization exercise. They are worried. They are voicing their concern, but the union government is not giving any solution to this, etc. And let's assume the GST Council will take up this matter, discuss, deliberate, and it is put for voting now. And please understand, when it is put for voting, these particular states which will carry the voting weightage of around 2.2%, let's say hypothetically around 15 states will vote against this GST proposal. 15 states into 2.2 percentage votes will become 33%. So 33% of the voting weight is against the proposal. Any proposal which has to be passed through the GST Council requires at least 3/4, that is at least 75% of the voting weights based on how many members are present and voting. So this can happen. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm simply saying many of these particular states can become galvanized. This group can become galvanized. They would be worried about their tax implication or revenue implication, and it might basically reflect in terms of voting against the proposal put forward by the union government. And that is the precise reason. After the announcement, the Prime Minister basically came forward and stated he wishes that all the states will come together and support this rationalization exercise. Now, please understand the revenue implication. Yes, it is a concern. But having said so, do we require this kind of a rationalization exercise? Definitely, yes, we require this kind of a rationalization exercise. So, what is the way forward then? what is the solution or what is the way forward? The first one will be, under the GST law, please understand the maximum tax rate that you can impose is 40%. Can we amend this and increase the ceiling? In fact, remember the section under the GST, that is section 9, 1 of CGST Act. CGST Act of 2017. It imposes a ceiling of maximum 40% tax. For example, the state of West Bengal has asked the union government, can you increase this particular ceiling level or basically give us freedom so that we can impose higher taxes under the GST, as a result of which the state's revenue, which will be half of, let's say 50%, half of 60%, that will be collected by the state governments where the good or service is consumed. That to a certain extent will pacify the states. Second way forward can be, can the union government propose a mechanism where cess will be imposed and the cesses will be used to provide compensation to the states? But having said so, please understand this has to be proposed as a separate law. Third one, what about using finance commission? 15th finance commission, the tenure is going to get over very soon. From next year, we are going to implement the 16th finance commission recommendations. So can we have a better devolution, higher devolution to the states who are worried, or let's say to the states to pacify them, to basically bring them in favor of the rationalization exercise, which will help us to basically reduce the number of slabs, promote ease of doing business, reduce the tax burden on the consumer, etc. So these are some of the recommendations that you can provide in order to get this particular proposal passed through the GST Council. What is your opinion regarding this? I'm more interested in what you think. What would be your recommendation to address this particular problem where if you do not rationalize, it is a cause of concern. If you rationalize, it is a cause of concern. You will face opposition from some of the streets. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this initiative, do hit the like button. If you're yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. Thank you. Have a great day.